podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
We are delighted to be once again brought to you by The Athletic. The Athletic is a subscription journalism service providing the best coverage of Manchester United and more from writers like Laurie Whitwell, Oliver Kay, Adam Crafton, David Ornstein and Daniel Taylor. Their world-class team of writers is brought to you completely ad-free on their app. There's no ads, no annoying pop-ups, and they go really in-depth on a huge range of topics around all different aspects of football. To start a 7-day free trial and receive 50% off your yearly subscription, meaning it works out to just £2.50 a month, head to theathletic.co.uk/NQATpod. That's theathletic.co.uk/NQATpod. So, there was a lot of moaning on last week's show, Ed, and then we just rocked up and won 4-0. Are we idiots, or is it a little something to do with the quality of opposition?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess Norwich, perhaps they should have turned up with their first team, much like City did. Then I don't feel like Norwich gave us enough respect.
Honestly, that statement from Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the single most disgraceful thing he's done so far, and he needs to be really, really, really careful about that sort of thing, because that sort of thing will cost him his job. It'll be getting the PR spin wrong that does for him in the end. So if you somehow have been under a rock, he hasn't been accusing anyone of getting medieval on his backside or anything. But he did say that you can see how much progress we're making by the fact that Manchester City played their first team against us in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. It's one of the stupidest things any human's ever said, by the way.
It really is. And not exactly true, given that Bravo played and Aguero didn't.
Yeah, I mean,
Aguero just banged in his 12th Premier League hat-trick today. Maybe he's on the fringes of the first team or something these days.
I think there was I think he was injured or maybe suspended or something anyway, but Edison was suspended, right? But still, it's a completely nonsense statement. I looked at the City semi-final lineup against Burton in the first leg last season. Now, we have to bear in mind this was against Burton Albion, and it was not a first-string side, but Silva, David Silva, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Sane, Riyad Mahrez, a lot of heavy hitters played in that game, and that was against Burton Albion in the Carabao Cup in the season where City were going to win the league.
Up-and-comers Burton.
Yeah, just disgraceful nonsense from Solskjaer, but much better on the pitch. I mean, honestly...
Yes, much.
Never has "Can we play you every week" rang truer than thinking about United against Norwich this season.
Yeah, we really needed a victory against them when we went to Carrow Road. And that was one of the ones where we were like, are we going to do okay here? Because it's not been that great recently. And fortunately, they don't appear to have learned anything from being in the Premier League. They're really, really open every single week and they concede loads of goals. And fortunately, they were nice and open for us too, which gave our nice and pedestrian midfield loads of time on the ball to do stuff that Nemanja Matic and Juan Mata can do when they have loads of time on the ball. And it was very easy for them, and the front three were very good. So,
yeah. I mean, I thought Juan Mata was genuinely excellent in this game. He got 2 assists, and they were both peaches. His ball for the Rashford goal, I guess they were both crosses, right? Both from wide. But his ball for the Rashford goal was the whipped ball across it, round the corner from deep, and brilliant centre forward play from Rashford as well, attacking the ball at the far post in the 6-yard box.
Yeah, he had a very good game, Rashford, didn't he? So, and so did Martial up front, and so did even little Andres Pereira, who we perennially bash on this show. He had a good game, I thought. I mean, look, it really did help, and I'm not taking anything away from a positive performance. It really did help that Norwich just stood off I mean, just so much space. When Nemanja Matic, who really can't run faster than anyone in football, is able to just stroll around pinging balls all over the pitch, then the opposition had given up a little bit. So it really odd. I mean, I had thought they'd learned something from their time, but they are 100% going down on this evidence.
There was sort of, I don't know when the Rashford goal was, 30 minutes or something.
Yeah,
I have no
27,
idea.
yeah.
Right. But that first half hour, they were sort of fairly compact. And I thought it was quite nice to see the way in which United were trying to break them down was through sort of like really good individual play and nice little bits of link-up. Some lovely bits of skill from Rashford in the box in particular. And it was a really nice moment where Mata kind of stabbed a ball that looked like it had gone out of his control through to Martial, who sort of tried to buy a penalty a little bit, although I think it was reasonable to try and buy it, given there was a high percentage chance it was for sale in that moment. But it's just some nice moments. And then, but it was great when they did unlock the door. And then in the second half, getting the penalty so early on, that, and like Rashford doing well to score after the VAR checks and all that, which, adds a big thing to penalties. It was over at that point, wasn't it?
That's right. Brandon Williams won that penalty well. I mean, he definitely won it rather than it being sort of, dumb goalkeeping to come charging out like that, of course. And I think Brandon Williams probably checked his run a little bit just to make sure he clashed with the keeper. And at the point when he clashed with the keeper, the ball was 15 yards away from him or whatever. So, but he had by the way, excellent game again, Brandon Williams. I mean, there's let's just assume he is the number one left back at the club, given that Ashley Young is refusing to play for the club now.
And Luke Shaw is also accidentally refusing to play for the club by getting injured in the warm-up.
Oh, please. I mean, Grand National, you'd bring the curtain up, wouldn't you? You'd pull back the hammer and you'd end him. But unfortunately, the way of doing that in football is not unfortunately, you know what I mean. It's to sell him.
Well, you think football would be better if injured players were regularly shot?
Well, I mean, it's an option. So yes, look, United will need a left back in the summer because Young's off and Shaw should be off. He's just not adding any value, and Williams will need some kind of competition or will need some kind of cover there. I suspect that won't happen, but either way, the emergence of Brandon Williams has solved quite a big problem for us, and he appears to be getting better with each game. Of course, he wasn't under a lot of defensive pressure here, although, as we mentioned on the preview show, Buendia does create a lot of chances. He's a tricky little guy, and so I thought Shaw did very well when he was on the right-hand side. Sure, yeah. Williams.
Yeah. One moment when Brandon Williams, as my friend calls him, and it's stuck in my head, and now every time I see him, I want to call him Brandon Williams. He did make one of the most hilarious football misses you'll ever see in your life. Just one of those where, when they say it's harder to miss than score, like angle-wise, you have to get it so spectacularly wrong to miss because the ball's got to go almost vertically off his foot for him to miss. And in fact, the ball did in fact go almost vertically off his foot. Of course, it was not costly and it's fine. There's no problem. You're allowed to make... It's much more important to get into that position regularly. That's the thing that's telling. Other fullbacks would not be in that position.
No, they'd be still dipping into a bargain bucket or whatever it is. So, yes, it was great that he got into that position. He does get forward a lot, Williams. It's a shame he didn't have the composure at that particular moment. I mean, he scored a goal against Sheffield United, which was significantly harder. And here, it's a bouncing ball. Anyway, we'll forgive him once.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I really, really, really enjoyed the third goal. I mean, just the pinged cross from Juan Mata and the towering centre forward header from Anthony Martial.
Yeah. Well, what's it with our centre forwards scoring headers these days?
It's great. They are improving all the time. And, last podcast was intensely doomy gloomy because it was meant to be. That wasn't reactive. That was the appropriate reaction to the state of the club. And it's always horrible when that's drawn into sharp relief by a game like the one against City. This game was an example of the positives that do exist within the team. But of course, we know their limits. What I think has almost no limits is Martial and Rashford's ceiling, and of course the ceiling of the fourth goal scorer, where I'm pretty confident in saying 91 goal calendar year or whatever it was that Messi did that one time is not out of reach for Mason Greenwood. This year, maybe not this year, is. But 5 years' time, Mason Greenwood scoring, let's say 70 goals in the calendar year seems fairly likely to me.
Yeah. Sure. Look, when he's embedded into the first team and he's playing almost every game and he plays 60 odd games in the calendar, well, more than that in a calendar year with internationals, which has got to be coming up soon for Mason, then of course that's going to happen. He's having a lot of substitute appearances. I think he's the second most subbed on player in the Premier League at this stage. But he's scoring, he's got 4 Premier League goals now and 8 in all competitions, something like that. It's a really good return for short bursts, and we saw evidence once again that he really doesn't need much of a chance to score. Solskjaer keeps calling him the most natural finisher and at the club, and it just seems abundantly true, doesn't it? One of our many followers on Instagram, at NQATpod, if you want to see pictures of football and stuff, said Mason's really got to stop mugging off goalkeepers.
Yeah, this is a friend of the show, Cal Gildart, was saying to me, it must be an absolute nightmare to know exactly what he's going to do and be powerless to stop it. Because we kind of knew that this was coming. As soon as he hit the shot, his shot placement is so good. He's going to be a player, I imagine, who's going to defy the XG model for most of his career, because I think he's going to score more than he's meant to score from the places that he shoots from and the opportunities in which he shoots from. But he's also really smart. His movement's really good. And he's a tiny child at the moment. If he stays free from injury and stuff like that, he's the absolute nailed on hardcore real deal, Mason Greenwood is.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, the best players always do defy the XG model anyway, because it's based on averages. But completely, I completely get what you're saying. Those who score from difficult XG positions frequently, especially defy the model, and that's very true.
Yeah, a lovely attacking performance and very generous visitors in Norwich. I will buy extra mustard in their honour this week because
will you though? Will you?
I will. Yeah, I'm going to buy. I've run out of Coleman's. I've got French mustard in the fridge, but I haven't got any Coleman's in the fridge at the moment, so I'll get some just in their honour. It's a quality product, and they're an unquality football team.
Yeah.
We're not being sponsored by Coleman's, but call us Coleman's. We'll do a deal.
We can talk deals. Yeah. And what did you think of Cantwell spoken about in transfer dispatches somewhat recently? Right.
I did not know really that he'd been spoken about. Oh, yeah, I did know this actually because I had a chat about it with someone on Instagram as well. I mean, yeah, he seems good. But at the moment, people we're spoken about with dispatches will be all the footballers, because you just have to put Manchester United and a player's name in and your SEO is good.
But that's very yes, that's very true. Yes, and even our favourite actual sponsors over at The Athletic, www.theathletic.co.uk/NQATpod for 50% off.
And the 7-day free trial.
Wow. On top of your 50%.
Might talk about that a little bit more in a bit. I feel bad for Patreon backers for whom the ads cut out, but this bit will still be in. Sorry, lads.
Anyway, yes, even they are covering the transfer market somewhat. Ditching the think pieces for a couple of weeks.
I mean,
but anyway, look, he's young and he's English, so of course he's being linked with United because, we are Brexit FC still.
Yeah, and although there was a brief flurry of excitement as Bruno Fernandes' chat reached yet another peak, it's going to be lovely when him and Nick Gaitan and old Wes Sneijder sit down and have dinner together and talk about the good old days playing up number 10 for Man United.
Yes, this one seems a little more concrete, doesn't it? At least... look, the Portuguese papers, you can always take it with a pinch of salt because they try to flog their best. They're like marketing tools for the Portuguese clubs who want to, at the point of highest value of their players, need to sell them abroad. So seem to do a very good job with that. But a lot of serious journalists saying that there's some reality in this one, and United are seriously considering it after deciding that the guy couldn't pass well enough in the summer and that we didn't need a midfielder.
The United are seriously considering it stage is not the relevant stage anymore with transfer gossip, is it? It's like he's got the gun to his head and the pen in his hand and he's signing the thing. That's
even that doesn't count. It's when they're doing the promo video. That's when you know they're real about it.
It's when they're sat in front of a piano playing Glory, Glory, Man United. That's when you know.
What's Bruno Fernandes' promo video going to be about?
It's a good question. Well, the key is finding out what instrument he plays. Maybe that's why the transfer is happening in January rather than the summer, because he was taking trumpet lessons for all that time.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is really strange. Anyway, where does this make any sense, right? Because we've got injuries now, we're buying midfielder as if we didn't need a midfielder before. Have we been well stocked in midfielders to this point? I'm
worried at this point, though, Ed, that we shouldn't be criticising them for the mistake they made in the summer in case, to save face, they double down. And they're like, oh, no, now we'll look really stupid if we buy a midfielder now. So we were like, no, it's fine you didn't buy a midfielder in the summer. That was perfectly sensible. Now, of course, through circumstances completely beyond your control, you better buy a bloody midfielder.
Yes. It's bonkers. And of course, United, despite being so inconsistent, are only 5 points away from the Champions League places.
It's absolutely
Do you think
mad.
if we had a goal-scoring midfielder like this guy, and honestly, I don't know if this guy's any good. I can only go off what other people have said, and quite a few Portuguese sort of commentators, watchers say, well, he seems really good because his numbers are really good, but there are concerns. Like, can he make it in a bigger league? Will he get enough space? Especially all the goals he scores shooting from long range and in the box and so on. And I think those are legitimate concerns. And I think that's why a lot of the big clubs backed off in the summer, because they weren't sure, despite him having such a monster season last season. And so at this stage, I think it's quite fair to say that if United do the deal, it is out of desperation, because they had decided themselves, and were quite happy to let everyone know that they had no interest. And we're now getting more details. They had no interest because they were concerned about his passing was apparently the major concern. No idea if that's true either.
But Scott McTominay plays every week, so they were like, okay, well, maybe we shouldn't worry too much about passing as a concept. I love Scott McTominay, by the way. He's just not particularly good at passing. To go back to the game, you mentioned briefly in dispatches there that Andreas Pereira had a good game, and he really did. It's really... the one thing you absolutely cannot criticise him for is his industry. Like, he's got an engine on him and he's not afraid to use it. Like, he'll work his absolute socks off, and you can see why that buys a lot of goodwill with people, and I get that. But also in this game, there were a couple of moments of actual real quality, which we've seen we've certainly seen more of. If you take the season by halves, whatever the second half of the season so far, we've seen many more moments of quality from Pereira. Plenty of wayward passing and decision-making and bit of dawdling on the ball and all that stuff too. But there was one beautiful ball with the outside of his foot, putting it into the box in this game. It was really...
No. So you're wrong, mate. Only Trent Alexander-Arnold who's allowed to play balls with the outside of his foot. He invented the outside of the foot.
Don't be basic Man United guy, Ed. Don't do it. Don't lower yourself to that level.
I have to do it sometimes.
Yeah.
Look, I think, 3 key passes in the game for Andreas. And as we were talking about, I think on the last pod or the one before, his numbers are decent, actually, for chance creation. Third of an expected assist in this game. I mean, it's just to say that he can make things happen. We know he's got quality on the ball when he has time. his problem is he can't stamp his authority on a game ever, and he's not that young. And he's a bit loose with it, isn't he? He's a bit loose with possession, gets caught on the ball too often, and it just makes us feel like he is not of the appropriate quality. But there's stuff that can come out that is good, and today was good, or Saturday was good.
One thing that we didn't even talk about really was in a lot of the kind of pessimism or mild pessimism in terms of the likely result and performance against Norwich was based on the fact that we weren't too sure he'd be playing at centre defence. But Maguire played in this game, and Solskjaer called him a warrior. And I might be less of a warrior, more of a warrior, because when Solskjaer starts calling people a warrior, I assume that they'll be out for 6 months within about 6 weeks of that definition.
Yeah, and we haven't, I don't think we've had any update on injury or otherwise for Maguire yet, but they confirmed that he had a small tear at the top of the thigh muscle by his hip. So sometimes it was called a thigh injury, sometimes a hip injury, but it was a small tear in that muscle. That will take some time, and I would not be surprised if he didn't get a pain-killing injection. So if you've ever had any hip problems, which I have occasionally, then you'll know it's pretty debilitating. So I wouldn't be surprised. And of course, you can be the warrior all you like, but if it means you're going to be out for a few months as a result, it's not worth the risk. And we spent quite a long time on the Thursday pod talking about the risks that have been taken with Pogba and Scott McTominay, and it's a risk too far when you've got a really thin squad.
Yeah, and we're sort of slightly. This is, I would say, like a kind of with a somewhat limited data set, a series of concerns from the outside looking in. It's not a definitive, like, he's an idiot, he doesn't know how to manage injuries, because there's more going on than we know, but it's not looking good at all on that front, I'd say. The only other slight negative I'd have about the game, and this is really, considering our actual problems, this is proper first world football problems. We got really sloppy when we got to 4-0 up. It's like, come on, lads, you're 4-0 up. Don't be sloppy now. But yeah, I guess they were a combination of emotionally and physically drained by everything that's gone on recently. But all in all, I mean, Rashford getting a brace, Martial getting a proper centre-forwards goal, Greenwood coming on and looking brilliant, Pereira looking better, Marlon Brandon Williams being his usual brilliant self, and little Angel Gomez getting a game. I think he played against City as well briefly, didn't he? So a couple of games in a row for Gomez, which people were asking where he is, and it turns out he was, 7 injuries away from the occasional 5-minute substitute appearance.
Yeah, talk of him potentially being included in a deal for Bruno Fernandes, obviously Portuguese connections with Angel Gomez, and potentially Marcus Rojo. We're laughing about speculation here, so take it with a pinch of salt. But apparently with Rojo, United were unwilling to have him form part of the deal permanently because they still believe they can get a fee for him. So it was only a years-long loan.
The kind of the old definition of insanity of trying to do the same thing over and over again and hoping for a different result. Ed Woodward and Marcus Rocco is a real thing. It's like they wouldn't sell him to Everton, or Everton tried to loan him for the season or something, or they're just like, no, we can get a fee for Marcus Rocco. We can get a fee for Marcus Rocco. It's like Donald Trump, right? It's the kind of positivity mantra taken to the point of pathology where you don't see reality anymore. You only see positive outcomes.
It's the greatest left-sided central defender the world has ever known.
The banana is not to laugh. Marcus Rocco will surely go at some point, you would imagine. All in all, though, excellent performance against Norwich. Well done, United. A much, much tougher test at Old Trafford in midweek. And I guess we'll come back from a break, take some Twitter questions, and then look forward to the Wolves game.
All right.
So as we said at the top of the show, we're absolutely delighted to be sponsored by The Athletic, the best.
Delighted.
But yeah, we are. Like, proper delighted. Best place to read about football on the internet. They're a subscription journalism service. App has absolutely no ads or annoying pop-ups.
Unlike this show.
Yeah, exactly. This is the annoying pop-up that does not exist within the Athletic app. And all of this and more can be yours, including access to their team of absolutely world-class writers, people covering United like Danny Taylor, Laurie Whitwell, David Ornstein doing some United stuff these days. There's really very high-quality content on the club and football in general. It can all be yours. You get a 7-day free trial, so check it out. Like, we've talked to Big Game about it before we were sponsored by them, and definitely since, and we will continue to do so. But yeah, you can check out whether it's for you with a 7-day free trial, and by using www.theathletic.co.uk/NQAT pod, and you'll get a 7-day free trial and then a full 50% off your first year subscription. Joe Devine over at Rival Football Podcast, TIFO, Rival Athletic sponsored.
Hate him.
Yeah, boo. But anyway, Joe came up with a song about how...
Not as big as us in Bulgaria, by the way. Not as big as us. Facts. I'm just talking facts here.
He came up with a song about how it's only 8p a day to sign up for the Athletic, and I threatened to generate a rival 8p a day song. So at some point that might happen, but not just yet. It's only 8p a day if you use our promo code. So do it
Jingles
today.
have gone out of fashion.
Yeah, we bring them back.
Anyway, do you know who's not on the Athletic? Sorry, we're going a bit off piste here, but know who's not on the Athletic?
Who's that?
Neil Ashton, Sunday supplement host and now United PR flunky.
Oh, has he signed up with United?
He's formed his own PR agency and we're one of his clients, yeah.
Oh.
Classic United this, massaging the optics rather than actually getting a bloody director of football and sorting out the club.
Well,
anyway,
if you want like good content that is not like laden with PR nonsense, there's a couple of good articles this week that I'd point people's attention to. Laurie Whitwell wrote a really nice piece about actually reflecting some of the things that we have said already on the show today about Andreas Pereira and the kind of intense desire he displays on the pitch, but also how his numbers are starting to look better and better, which I think we have been pointing out lately, having given him plenty of criticism. And then I think my favourite article that I've read on The Athletic this week is sort of tangentially, or I guess we would now say historically related to Man United, in that it's about Zlatan Ibrahimovic and the destruction of his statue outside Malmo, written by Brooks Peck and Adam Snavely. It's a really nice piece. It's written as a dialogue between the two of them in a very sort of deliberate style, and it's funny and in-depth, and genuinely I learnt some stuff that I didn't know. Did you know, for example, that statue was not commissioned by Malmo and was commissioned by the Swedish FA, but was too heavy to put outside the Friends Arena National Stadium on the kind of arena area they had lined up for it? So they offered it to Malmo, who were like, yeah, sure, whatever. But that proved to be
not popular with the Malmo ultras. Yeah, Zlatan made his debut, or his pre-debut, for AC Milan at the weekend. Scored. Of course he did.
Yeah, I think he made his debut the week before, but did he make his first start, was it?
Was it his first start?
But anyway, yeah, he's a really good chat on a different podcast about that. So we won't plug that during the ad. I probably shouldn't do that. All right, so the long and the short of it is, for just £2.50 a month, 8p a day, and we've checked, and this offer's available to people around the world as well, for the best football coverage you'll find in written form on the internet. Head to theathletic.co.uk/NQAT pod, sign up for a 7-day free trial, 50% off your first year. Super helps out the show, and we love them, so thanks very much.
That's one of the most stupid questions I've ever heard in my life. Test my patience.
So, Ed, what have the people been saying to us this week?
Friend of the show, Chris Etchingham, Liverpool fan, says, how many will you beat us by next weekend? Because I know you will.
I mean, that is the fakest. Oh, I'm afraid my team's going to lose a big game. Oh, it's so difficult not having lost a single game this season. You know it's going to happen at some point, and I bet it'll be those up the M62 that do it. We see your feeble attempts, Chris, and we bat it back to you.
Really could have lost the Spurs, actually. I mean, a lot of control Liverpool had in that game, obviously, but Spurs had some really good chances, given that they played in a very extremely Mourinho way of having 30% possession, but 4 very good chances for Spurs in that game could have ended Liverpool's very good run. We don't like to talk about Liverpool on this show, so we'll move on to another question. Dale says, you've been abducted by a serial killer. Before he kills you, he allows you one last game of football to watch or a film. What do you choose? Football or film?
Film, definitely.
99 Cup final over Champions League final.
No, I've I guess like a football match that's already happened. No, you see, the thing about watching a football match that's already happened in a moment like that is, I'd rather watch a film that I've been meaning to watch for a while. I think.
What if it's really disappointing?
Yeah, well, you're about to get killed. You're not going to have to worry about it for too long, are you? It's fine.
Muppet Save Christmas, then it is.
Yeah. I think there's a decent chance I'd watch a Muppet. Probably not. I might just watch like Annie Hall or something, because it's like the cognitive dissonance isn't going to matter now. It's all over. Just enjoy it one last time.
All right. Greg Seward said, if Fernandes does sign, who next? Dave Saves says, does Bruno Fernandes exist? Ollie FNA says, is Bruno Fernandes the answer? Olaf D. Hoslemo, sorry, Olaf. Will Bruno be our Lord and Saviour? There may be a theme to some of these questions. Don't know. Pretty sure he exists, because I've seen him on YouTube highlights scoring some thunder bastards, because he likes to shoot from impossibly long distances.
I looked up his like stats bomb stuff, and they shared his shot map from last season, and it was like, he's going to fit in real well at United. Him and Pogba just knocking the ball to each other and shooting from 100 yards. Although Bruno Fernandes did score one from 100 yards, didn't he?
It's just ridiculous, that one, yeah. Rasmus Sundberg says, how old would Mason Greenwood be when he beats Rashford's all-time goal-scoring record?
Give a standing ovation to that question. I absolutely love a referential twist on a theme. So Rashford will have it for, that's in a way, it's sad that Marcus Rashford's only going to have it for 2 years. He played his 200th game for Man United. That did something to my brain of like making me feel really, really, I feel old all the time because I am, but that was particularly intense.
Fred played his 50th game for United, then tweeted out that he was very proud of himself for doing it. Good for you. Say it loud, Fred is proud.
Say it loud. I'm Fred and I'm proud. I like it. We've had a few in the inbox on Instagram. It was a good one from McNeil FC in California, who wondered whether maybe, and this is a stretch, Ollie could be referring in his medieval times nonsense to Robin Hood, given that RVP took the 20 jersey from him, and Robin Hood was a thief who stole from the rich and gave to the poor, and they share the same name. That's the only bit of this was like, if that is the thing, then that means that Ollie Solskjaer's brain cross-wired in a really intense way, because it's the only way the metaphor makes sense.
George Blackshaw says, do you believe Ollie is slowly morphing into David Moyes?
I mean, yes, though, I do believe that. The thing that he's got going for him is, I think he's... I know this is the most obvious point in the world, but he genuinely understands United. So when Moyes was saying that stuff, it wasn't him, like, scrambling around to try and make sense of the calamity around him. It was him applying his sort of fundamental lack of grasp of the situation, but the transformation's happening.
Moyes, who was understandably extremely angry over West Ham's last minute equaliser, non-equaliser against Sheffield United on Friday night. Did you see that one?
I managed to miss this. It's always nice when you miss a VAR controversy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's a VAR controversy per se, because it's more of a handball controversy as applied through VAR. So Declan Rice has done really well and sort of challenged for the ball and then laid on an assist for the equaliser. The problem was that the Sheffield United defender, whose name I've forgotten, heads it onto his arm in the process, and it happens in a split second. So there's no way he can get out of the way of it. So obviously the defender, and what Rice said afterwards was, obviously I couldn't get out of the way. There's nothing I could do. And then he said, which was really interesting, all the players hate it. So fans hate it and players hate it, but hey-ho, the broadcasters like it because it creates lots of talking points.
The game isn't for fans or players, is it? It's for administrators. We know this. We had a question from Sir Topas on the Instagram comments. How much are Inter going to offer for Luke Shaw in the summer?
Oh, please, yeah. I mean,
that's a good question.
They're the good dumping ground these days, Inter.
I mean, I sort of see the logic in them buying Ashley Young if they think he's good at crossing. Because they definitely have strikers who can benefit from crosses, play with the front two and all that kind of stuff. But Ashley Young puts in some good crosses sometimes. When you think about it, you can easily close your eyes and picture a good Ashley Young cross. But he does not put in a lot of good crosses and he does not put them in very often.
No. Daniel Greer, United's front three, Rashford, Martial and Mason. That's, okay. Let's see where you're going here. Have more goals, 39 in all competitions, than Liverpool's, who have 38. Are they better? Obviously.
Clearly. I wouldn't swap them, but that's just because of emotional, connection. I mean...
Yeah, I think all of United's last 15 goals, at least in the Premier League, have come from those three.
Yeah, I was looking at who scored just to grab a little clip for the Instagram, in fact, at NQAT pod. The front three have scored, well, our forwards have scored a lot. Rashford scored a lot. Marcel scored a lot considering how many he's played. Mason scored a heck of a lot considering how many he's played. And then no one else has scored any goals. There's a couple in there, but yeah, it's slim pickings from the rest of them. But yeah. Also, Liverpool's front three are not a front three. They're a front two and an auxiliary midfielder.
Yeah, sort of. Firmino, you mean, playing basically a false nine. Yeah. True. Creco, MUFC says, which player should United throw their big swinging dick at in the summer? I'm not sure you would really want to throw your
this is definitely an Edism, this, and that's definitely your description of our financial might. Problem is, it's I'm not going to continue with the metaphor that I was just going to go. There's not a lot of control. It's just randomly happening. Basically, they've got all this money, but they don't know how to direct it anywhere. The Fernandes thing, even that, a lot of people asked us about him. The one thing that I think more than anything else is that when Raiola says United would ruin anyone, I don't think that's true. But I do think Fernandes fits very nicely into the mould of a player whose career we could absolutely ruin. Listen, tread very lightly if you decide to make this move, Bruno, because you are entering choppy waters.
Yes, he's he's not a Raiola client, is he? Who is he? Is he with Jorge Mendes? Probably is in the Portuguese.
Is it really bad that I've just fully assumed that that's the case because his name is Bruno Fernandes? So I'm like, well, probably a Mendes client.
All right, final question then. Alex Jamoranatero says, did either of you realise how big a wombat was? And he attaches to this question a picture of Steve Owen with a wombat, and I did not. Those things are huge.
All right, hold on. I need to look up how big wombats are.
Paul, for those of you on the wireless, he's looking up the size of a wombat on his phone.
This is like, what?
It'd make a lovely rug, wouldn't it?
Look at the size of that thing. Come on with your rug animal cruelty talk. Yeah, I imagine it's the same picture of Steve Irwin with a wombat that you're looking at. It's a big unit, that little one. They're so cute.
He can play central defence.
He's not that big, is he? He's not big enough to play central defence. He can have a go.
All right.
We need him in midfield. What we should do is Matic should have a little wombat on his shoulder, just to distract people from the Manu Matic playing for United. Anyway, we've gone off the rails. That's my favourite question of the week, obviously. Should we take another break and then preview Wolves?
Let's do it.
All right.
Enjoying, no question about that. If so, let others know about us. The best way to do that is leave us a review and a rating on iTunes and hit that subscribe button. Wolves.
So, oh God. The thing about that game against Wolves last time, which I feel like didn't really say enough, is they were rubbish as well. Like, we were there for the taking, and they were there for the taking, and nobody did any taking.
No, yeah, that's right. I mean, strange season Wolves are having, aren't they? And Europa League participation definitely disrupted the beginning of it, and then they went on this pretty poor run and this great run, and they've had a mixed bag of results, including a 1-1 draw with Newcastle at the weekend, in which Newcastle had one shot inside the box.
Yeah, that I sent the XG map of that game to the NQAT group chat and remarked that football is hard because Wolves had, I think, over 2 goals worth of XG without any penalties, and Newcastle had 0.18 XG and the final score was 1-1.
Yeah, Newcastle had 5
game.
shots in total. 1 inside the box from which they scored, and 4 long-range efforts, which are all Bruno Fernandes territory.
So since they're doing a bit of a Norwich in a way, really, because since beating Man City, everything's ruined. I mean, they were unlucky-ish against Liverpool at Liverpool. Then they lost to Watford at Watford. Then there was that turgid draw with us, and then the draw with Newcastle, although I wouldn't necessarily read too much into that draw in terms of performance levels. But I have to say, I mean, I'm glad this game's at home, and I'm glad that we're on the back of our front three playing really well. I wonder, given the sort of fixture, I don't know if it's fixture pile-up exactly, but given the fact that we've got Liverpool at the weekend after that, although this is Wednesday night and the Liverpool game isn't till Sunday afternoon.
It's recovery time, yeah.
Yeah, but how much rotation are we going to see? Are we going to see... I mean, the thing is, how much rotation can we see?
They just can't be that much because we just don't have that much depth. I mean, the same's true for Wolves, of course. I mean, they go to Southampton next, and Southampton are in a good vein of form at the moment. After getting spanked 9-0, they keep winning. So,
yeah. Although a friend of the show and a friend of the sponsor, or employee of the sponsor, Carl Anker, wrote a brilliant article on The Athletic about why the 9-0 wasn't actually the turning point it seems to be, and it's sort of what's come next that's the turning point in a lot of ways. So.
Yes. Very deep, Carl. Deep. Yeah.
Classic.
Anyway,
classic,
after Southampton, they play
take.
Liverpool, and then us again, because we play Wolves every week, when we'd like to play Norwich every week, and then Leicester. So they've got a tough schedule as well, Wolves. So I wonder whether they might rotate just a little bit too. So, and anyway, what was the team do you reckon United will put out? I'd like to see Williams in again, but I suspect that he's been careful with him, and we might see Shaw back in if he's fit. Depends. I mean, it was a tight hamstring, not something completely bust. Although tight hamstring can lead to a bust hamstring. Young is on strike, we think. We're not quite sure.
I just, honestly, I know it's technically bad for United, but I really do hope that he is on strike because it is so funny.
Friend in the biz slid into my DMs to say it should be done in 24 hours. So it looks like he's done. Okay. He's done this winter. So, which is, I mean, look, it's risky in that if we get another injury or Williams gets a loss of form and Shaw gets injured again, then we're really short. So could be risky. But anyway, I suspect Shaw's in if he's fit. And other changes, we'll see.
I would definitely play Williams in this game, but then I think it was sort of clear from the selection in that last game that the FA Cup is just not a priority, and that Liverpool game, you know, it's bad to say it, right? But in a way, feels really weird to be saving players for that Liverpool game.
Oh, no.
It feels
You're getting into Ollie Moyes territory now. Oh.
But it's not my job to inspire the troops, is it? It's not my job to maintain the veneer of PR over the reality of the fact that like we are going to have to be at our absolute bests to get anything out of that game.
We are the only team that have taken points off them this season. You know, we'll do a full preview, of course, on the midweek show, but we are the only team that's taken points off them. We have the game to take points off them, defend and break. It's going to be tough, obviously. But anyway, back to Wolves. So, I mean, there will be some changes just because there kind of has to be. Daniel James, will he come back in? Might do, although Mason doesn't half deserve some real football. Marcus Rashford, I'm worried about because he's scoring loads of goals, but I'm worried about burnout because he's also playing almost every minute.
Yeah, and he took him off really early in that game.
He did,
and he
looked good. Yeah,
Rashford looked a little bit fed up to be going off. And
I'm not surprised he had 2 goals. He's looking for his first United hat trick.
Yeah, but absolutely the right thing to do, no question whatsoever. Once it was 3-0, get him out of there immediately because he's now our most important player, isn't he? Like of the players who are not currently wearing an ankle cast, the one that you least want to lose from this team is definitely Marcus Rashford.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say ankle bracelet. I was going, steady on. It's only Marcus Rocco that's got one of those.
But yeah, so Rashford's, but he's going to play in this game. I can't imagine him not playing this game. Of
course. Well, given that we're probably out the Carling Cup and the Europa is the Europa and like who knows where that goes. The FA Cup is still our best route to silverware this season and important as a result.
Absolutely. But clearly not necessarily a priority. So it'll be very interesting. If we see Tahith Chong in the starting 11 again, I think we can pretty safely assume that he is just trying to get out of the FA Cup. That's no disrespect to Tahith Chong intended by that.
Hater.
It's what he represents in this case that I'm referring to, not his actual performance level.
What do you think we'll get then? What kind of United? I mean, styles make games, of course, and this is set up for Wolves like low possession. Jimenez probably playing the away game, I'd imagine. Gives them a lot more control up front. So, plus the guy who played last time, double-barreled, whose name I forget, is going out on loan. So,
right. So I guess it is really fascinating to see how the managers change approach, given that they both had such a laissez-faire approach in a way to the first game. It's weird that they would make more effort for the replay, which is in a way just like an even more annoying game than the FA Cup third round that they were clearly just annoyed existed.
Well, you're probably right. There probably will be a lot of changes. I mean, but yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to guess Romero, Shaw, Jones, Lindelof, AWB, probably. Dalot, maybe, if he goes full wacky.
Yeah, Dalot could play. I mean, Bailly and Fosu Mensah both fit. They wouldn't play a full game, though. They both played in the under-23s the other night, got about an hour each.
Be nice to see Eric Bailly on the bench, maybe, just because it's always nice to see Eric Bailly.
Did you see his overhead attempt?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
First game back after a mega knee injury, Take it easy, son. Don't go for anything crazy.
Tries to score an overhead kick within at least within the first hour of his of being back playing football. There is something profoundly lovable about Eric Bailly. That's for sure.
He's tapped. He's not right in the head. But
yeah. So I think he could be on the bench. But yeah, then in midfield,
not a lot of options.
I guess it's going to be Matic and Fred again. And I actually think in a way that's, given that we have to play Matic every game, it's kind of a good idea to keep that partnership going and just try to get some fluency into it.
We don't get much out of Matic when he plays 2 games a week, though. I don't know if he can handle it. I wouldn't be surprised if Fred's not at the base and then we see Pereira and Mata ahead.
So almost, but he just doesn't change when it's 4-2-3-1. So you'd almost see like he'll play Pereira and Fred in the middle, and then Mata ahead of them, and then the front three of either James or Greenwood and Martial and Rashford. I think
something like that.
And I think it'll be, assuming James is fit, I think it'll be James over Greenwood, because he's clearly, Mason Greenwood is a very complicated prospect when it comes to fantasy football, because he's incredibly cheap and he's going to get way more points than he should do based on his points value, but he'll often stop a player on the bench with points coming into your side because he'll have played 2 minutes. So the Mason Greenwood fantasy football dilemma is one that I've got him in my team because I didn't have enough money for any other players. So but anyway, I don't think he'll play this one. I think it'll be James, Martial and Rashford. The one thing he could do, of course, is play James, Rashford and Greenwood up front, play Greenwood through the middle, which I don't think is impossible. Give Martial a rest.
Yeah, all possible options. Literally the only possible options, because that's how far our resources go. Anyway, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I just don't know. I don't know what we're going to get. Are we going to get the Norwich performance and/or team? I suspect not, because Wolves just won't be as open, and they're a better side, obviously. And we're just so inconsistent. I just don't know whether we blow hot or cold from one game to the other.
Absolutely. And so much of it, as I feel like the most broken record of all, the most broken record thing you can say about previewing United games this season is the first goal is absolutely massive, because if we can get the breakthrough like just before half time, go in with a 1-0 lead, then I'd be super, super confident about us in the second half. But if we go a goal down early and have to break them down, then that could be a long, long night of not particularly inspiring football. But there's quality in them there hills, and when we're not playing a really good team, and Wolves are a good team rather than a really good team, and they might not be at their full strength, we've always got a scrappy underdog puncher's chance, Ed.
Yeah, apparently so. So that's it. Anything else to talk about this week?
No, that'll do me. If I'm happy, if you're happy, and we'll be back after the Wolves game with a show on Friday, which will of course have a heavy focus on previewing our trip to Anfield.
Tune in.
See you then. Patreon backers, stay tuned for more content.
No question about that.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.